Today we are going to make some chili. It's a nice snowy day, and we're going to make some with ground bison. I'm going to use old Carrol Shelby's kit here. Always have good luck with that. Going to chop up some onions here. Going to use some sweet peppers. Going to chop those up. Some kidney beans. Some petite tomatoes, black beans, and pinto beans. So fairly simple. Just let it simmer, and I'll just show you my process. And it's always good to make on a cold winter day. So we're going to go ahead and add about a tablespoon of olive oil. This olive oil I actually got from Greece, but you can use any olive oil. And we want this on a low to medium heat here. So we're just going to brown the onions and peppers. And again, this is a low to medium heat. And we just want to make sure when the oil heats up that we gently add the onions and peppers, because the waters in those will pop. The oil is heated up, and we're going to go ahead and start adding the onions first, and these will splatter. So we're just browning the onions here, and then we're also going to add the peppers at the same time, and we're just going to brown them and soften them up. That'll take up to 10 minutes or so. Let's see how we're looking here. I think we're looking really good. Nice good caramelization here going on. These are looking really good. You can add any peppers you want. If you like it hot, you can add hot peppers, Anaheims, and Fresnos, whatever you want. Just I always like to go a little mild, and then you can always add it a little later. But yeah, I'm really liking this caramelization. I'm going to go ahead and leave this here for a little longer. Okay, I went ahead and turned the heat off, and I like that caramelization. I like it a little charcoaled. You can do whatever you want up to soften, or if you like a little bit of caramelization or a little bit of browning. It's all up to you. This is your chili. We're going to set these to rest, put these aside, and we're going to use the same pan. And I'm just going to add some more olive oil, and then we're going to go ahead and brown our 2 pounds of ground bison. Heat about medium low until that's hot again. We just transferred the same pan. Again, I like to use the same pan to get some of that onion flavor baked into the meat. You can do however you like. These were actually not completely defrosted. These were overnight for about 24 hours. I would recommend at least up to 48 hours or maybe 3 days in the fridge to thaw these out. I'm going to go ahead and just work it in and then thaw it as I cook, but preferably to up to 3 days because these were solid frozen. 3 days in the fridge to defrost. Okay, yeah, this meat is finally browning up. And we could add a little salt to this if we wanted to. The season mix already has some salt in there. And you can, I generally like to go low on the salt in case people can always season it afterwards to their own taste. And yeah, this is coming along. It took a little longer because a lot of it was still frozen. And this is bison. Bison, you don't cook it as long. It's generally, if you have like a bison fillet or a steak, you generally, medium is probably the most done you would want it because you don't cook it as long. Obviously, if people want it to their own taste, but usually medium to even medium rare for bison is acceptable, and because you don't cook it as long. In this case, because this was frozen, or a lot of it was frozen, it's taken a little while. But bison, it's low in fat content, and it's actually high in protein, so it's a really good and healthy alternative. Of course, you can use beef or whatever. I personally like to use bison because I like the taste of it. It is a little bit more expensive, and I got this at my favorite gourmet shop, and I can put the name in the description here. But yeah, I love cooking with wild game. I don't think bison is considered wild game anymore. It used to be. But yeah, this is coming along real nicely here. I may put it in just slightly pink because it's going to simmer for 3 hours. But yeah, you don't have to cook it as long as beef. But yeah, I really like it. Yeah, this is coming along real nicely. Let me put the lid on it and let it sit a little more. And maybe a few more minutes, and then we'll check back on it. I did taste it. I'm going to go ahead and add a teaspoon of salt. Just kind of mix that around a little bit. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased the way this is coming out. And then we're going to go ahead and drain this. And then start the assembly, which is the fun part, because that's adding all the goodies. So yeah, this is, I like it because it's slightly pinkish. Again, that more of that medium look instead of beef, where some people just brown the heck out of it. Again, it's up to your own personal taste. But I'm really liking the way this is coming out. And I did a sample test, so we're going to go ahead and drain this and then start our assembly for our chili. My ground beef first, I let it sit for about 10 minutes. Let it. And then my peppers. Tomatoes. And then adding the tomatoes. And then now we're going to add all of our beans. So first up is the pinto beans. A can of those. Next up is the kidney beans. A can of those. And then last but not least is the black beans. A can of those. And then I'm going to add 1 can of tomato sauce. And now the spice packet. The kit comes with the chili spices, which is the main ingredient. And then mesa, if you want to thicken it up. And then cayenne pepper, if you want to make it hotter. I always go a little thrifty on this because it is hot. I personally like mine chili hot, but the other people in my household, my wife does not. So I just use a little bit of that. And then, of course, we turn our pot on to high for now. So we're going to go ahead and add the chili mix. In addition, I'm going to add about 16 ounces of water. And then, of course, mix this real well. I have the pot on hot, obviously a slow cooker. I think this is a 4-quart because this is going to cook down, and then I'm going to watch it for, I usually like to let this simmer in the crock pot at least 3 hours. Obviously the next day this is going to taste even better because all these good ingredients are going to have a chance to mellow and meld together. But I just mix it in really well, and then just check it throughout the 3 hours. And yeah, this is looking really good so far. So you can add anything you want. Preferably would be to add homegrown and or farmers market tomatoes, fresh bison instead of frozen. Fresh beans, fresh peppers. Obviously, that's the preferred choice. If you have your own garden, that would be great. You know, but these are all canned and what I got at actually King Soopers or Kroger. The ground bison, again, I got from a gourmet meat shop in Lakewood on Jewel and Garrison. It's called the Gourmet Meat Shop. And bison is a little more expensive, but if I'm going to go through all this trouble in making chili, I'm going to make it worth it. Not to say that beef, and obviously you can fix this vegetarian as well, but this is my chili, and I like make it the way I want. But again, I'm just stirring this in for now, just to get the initial mixes all stirred, and then I will check this maybe every half hour during the 3 hours as this cooks. I'm going to take a little paper towel and wipe all this off, and I'm using a wooden spoon because this will stain. So I'm pretty happy with this. And then of course it'll be in time for dinner. And this serves, I think this is a 4-quart crock pot. I have it currently set on high to get it up to that simmer. And then I'll bring it down to a low, maybe the last hour or so. So obviously just put the lid on, and I'll be watching this throughout the 3 hours. Obviously the longer you cook it, the better. But I always figured about 3 hours is good. You can start this early in the morning and have it for lunch, or midday and have it for dinner. It's all up to you. But generally speaking, the day after is where this really shines. So we'll be back throughout to check it. It's been about 3 hours, and here's our chili. Here's what we're looking like here. Kind of zoom in here. It's bubbling nice, so I'm going to take it down to low. It's smelling really good. Stir it up just a little bit. Yeah, it's a little watery, so we could add a little bit of mesa if we wanted to. It all depends on your preferences, but yeah, it's a little watery, so we could add just a tad bit of mesa. But there's our finished product. We did not add the cayenne pepper. You can add that as optional, but we did not add it. And then of course here's our mesa here. We could add that to thicken it up, but we did not at this time. So go ahead and enjoy from shredded cheese if you like. And it's always good to have this with some good fresh bread, or homemade bread especially, good hearty bread. And there you go. Again, Carrol Shelby's kit. This is Bison Chili. And enjoy.